Ever since 500,000 fans gathered at Yasgur's farm in August of '69, pop culture has idealized the Woodstock spirit. So when the 30th anniversary edition of the festival ended in flames, many were left asking why. Was it a revolt prompted by perceived greed, or just a new generation with misdirected energy? You be the judge.
I wasn't preparing for Sunday night and like the events that took place then, but I don't know, in a way it didn't surprise me. People wanted something.
You can only deal with so much before you just say, that's it, I've had it.
People wanted to have some sort of frenzy.
People do go crazy, people do snap.
They wanted to get off on something, and you know what it was, nobody knew.
In the third weekend of July 1999, organizers of the original Woodstock Festival invited fans to roam New York for 3 more days of peace and music.
When I think of Woodstock 69, I think of people coming together with music, love, happiness, and just a free sense of spirit.
Indiana University senior Anne-Marie Spilotro and a carload of friends road-tripped 16 hours to get to the show.
We were psyched. We were all very amped to go.
I figured it'd be quite an experience, you know, and meet a lot of people and have some freedom and have a good time.
28-year-old David Heidi bought his $150 ticket to Woodstock back in his hometown of Boston. Little did he know that his 3 days of freedom would land him in jail.
I made a mistake, according to the law, but I don't feel bad.
Friday was intense. The sun was out. Everybody's just psyched.
By Friday morning, most of the 200,000 fans had set up camp on the 50-acre complex that used to be Griffiths Air Force Base.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Everything was going as planned.
Opening acts, everything was just absolutely incredible.
Well, there was some people crowd surfing with no clothes on. It was really fun, and I went to see the band Korn.
What's up, Woodstock?
And the place just exploded.
Writer Matt Hendrickson covered Woodstock 99 for Rolling Stone.
And that's also, though, when it seemed to turn a little darker.
People stopped moshing and they're throwing the fist around.
It was getting really violent.
And it was kind of scary.
I went out halfway through their set to one of the first aid tents. There's kids dehydrated, separated shoulders, gashes on their foreheads, broken legs. It was a mash unit.
By midnight, the first 12 hours of live music had ended. But for tens of thousands of Woodstockers, the party was just getting started.
Things that were going on were just, they're not clubbish.
This was just a free-for-all.
You're not going to get totally naked in a club.
Pretty hedonistic.
You're not going to be having sex, oral sex, whatever.
Anything goes and went.
This is how much I love Woodstock!
There's nothing going on but peace and love and music inside.
Saturday rolled around, hot again.
It's an Air Force base. There's not a tree to be found.
There have been several hundred cases of heat exhaustion.
There was really nowhere to hide from the sun.
We candidly never took into account that it might be, and indeed was, 100 degrees every day.
Veteran concert promoter John Scher co-produced Woodstock 99.
Just a miscalculation.
If you were to try to go get water, which the human body needs, they were $4 12-ounce thing, which I thought was ridiculous.
There was plenty of free, potable water.
Some of it was kind of remote, kind of off.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, we didn't have them every 10 yards.
So you didn't really want to walk that far to get it, so you're going to go and buy the water.
Fans were allowed to bring in supplies. They also had the option of being shuttled into town. But that meant waiting on long lines and missing the show.
Food was really expensive.
For a pizza for one, $12, and then $4 for a drink of iced tea. That's $16.
Would I like it to have been $2 a meal? Yeah, I couldn't get a concessionaire to do that.
You probably have to eat 3 or 4 of those a day to survive. That's $64.
They were allowed to bring food. They just couldn't bring it in cans and bottles.
8 glasses of water. It's another $36.
Yeah, it was a mistake. There shouldn't have been $4 water.
Talking $96 a day.
Certainly lots of people brought their own food and didn't have those same complaints.
And I think they screwed us. I know they did.
How many people here ever woke up one morning and just decided it wasn't one of those days and you're gonna break some
When he said that, I mean, my first reaction was, oh, God, here we go.
This is one of them days, y'all.
kids obviously hadn't slept. They've been sitting there baking under the sun. People were just waiting to uncork. That came when Limp Bizkit took the stage.
The crowd went crazy.
10 minutes into Limp Bizkit's set, some fans tore down the plywood protecting the electrical towers.
That's some tight shit right there, that crowd surfing on the plywood.
Limp Bizkit may have walked it to the edge. To some degree, I think that's what rock and roll's about.
Saturday night, it was definitely a kicker. The momentum just kept going and going. It just kept building up and building up. And then, you know, bam.
Oh, yeah! The crowd was really hyped up. The blood pressure gets going.
People were getting more aggressive.
I saw this one girl on someone's shoulders, totally naked, and people were assaulting her and touching her breast.
Some were like going along with it, and some of them were just like, oof.
Woodstock, baby!
When the barrage of bands ended at midnight, thousands headed back to the all-night rave. For many, it was another sleepless night.
By Sunday, there was a lot of really tired and angry people because they had spent another sleepless night in a campground filled with sewage.
Were there some toilets that were overflowing? Unquestionable.
We woke up and there was, shit in our tent or coming into our tent.
The company that we hired to clean the porta-johns, do a good job, they did an awful job.
It was a refugee camp.
But the cleanup wasn't non-existent.
It's like people in war. We were living like slobs by the end of the weekend.
It was getting pretty gross.
It slowly took its toll on everyone. Everybody had kind of had enough.
At 8 o'clock on Sunday night, the Red Hot Chili Peppers took the stage. They were the last of 80 bands to play in the 3-day festival. In the crowd, thousands of fans held candles given to them by the promoters of Woodstock. But the serene scene soon turned chaotic.
Holy shit, it's apocalypse now out there.
Fire started 1, 2, 3.
The delayed hour, on fire, as you can see, it's not part of the show. It really is a problem.
The fire department went and saw that bonfire and reported back to us as producers to leave it alone, that it was a ground fire and it would burn itself out.
Let's back away, let's let the fire department do their job.
It was the fire department said, don't worry about it. So we told everybody to stay away from it and moved on and finished the show.
Chili Peppers play their Hendrix cover, Fire. As soon as it's over, they run in their limos and boom, they're gone.
Hot Chili Peppers, ladies and gentlemen.
Kind of ended abruptly and just added a little bit more fuel to the rage that had been building all weekend.
People were climbing the towers and stuff, ripping it down, and they loved it.
I'm going, oh my God, they're burning the whole place down.
The look in some people's eyes, it was barbaric.
Security was nowhere to be found at that point.
We weren't prepared at that stage to deal with it quickly enough and effectively enough.
It was the primo time to go nuts.
You could just see the fires raging.
What is going on? Why is this happening?
Several people on top of our vehicle ready to flip it over.
Why are people ending on the snow?
We got ATM machines getting ripped out.
I was all set to pack up and leave. I had had enough.
Kids were running through there, flipping over tables, stealing merchandise. Vendors were afraid for their lives.
A friend of mine pointed over to the trailers, which they had all broken open, and there was just new merchandise being thrown everywhere. He said, look at that. So I was caught by it. It seemed like everybody was having fun. I jumped up one of the trucks. I threw some of the stuff out myself.
There were a few hundred kids that were doing it. Everybody else was sort of gaping or leaving.
Co-producer Michael Lang was one of the creators of the original Woodstock.
It wasn't this sort of mass, uprising.
And I felt so good as I was doing what I was doing, giving stuff away. I attempted to take a few things, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I ran into a state trooper, a woman with her big nightstick out, and she told me to get on my knees. All the fun I was having ended.
Fires, looting, and the fear of riots have left the former Griffiths Air Force Base in Rome a burned-out mess this morning.
By sunrise Monday morning, The destruction told the story. There was close to $500,000 in damage.
Had the fires not occurred Sunday night, the reportage would have been completely different, I think.
What happened Sunday night led journalists to other things.
4 days after the end of the festival, the Washington Post broke the story that the state police were investigating cases of rape on the Woodstock grounds.
To have those kinds of allegations, and indeed in some cases they've been proven already, is horrific.
That counteracts everything that Woodstock should stand for. That disgusted me.
Crowd that size, the inmates start ruling the prison, and then there's really nothing you can do to sort of control, and it just escalates and escalates and escalates.
I'll be sorry for the rest of my life that some of the things that went wrong.
There's a lot of kids out there that are bored, angry, and lonely.
I think a lot of people were searching for something to connect to and maybe didn't know quite how.
This recklessness, the destruction, is their way of getting back at their parents or society or what's keeping them down.
It was just like the final reality of like, this is our generation and this is what we're gonna show for it.
And I don't feel any remorse for what I've done. I regret being caught. That's all I regret.
For critics who dub Woodstock profit stock, promoter Michael Lang says they got it all wrong. Lang says promoters barely broke even. Despite that and all the problems, they have not closed the door on doing another Woodstock. We'll be back with more Rock Story after this.